Meet Jody Rappaport, founder and owner of My Big Finds, a local and unique gift shop located in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Through this interview, we learned her story of escaping the corporate world and starting her own small business, enabling her to do what she loves. She taught us what goes into starting a business from the ground up, how to keep it running, and all while providing customers with a unique experience. Watch to gain key insight on how to start your own business, and be sure to check out My Big Finds as well.
So just for an introduction, what is My Big Finds? What was the inspiration behind this business?
Okay, well, first off, my name is Jody Rappaport. It kind of based off driving to corporate America for years and realizing that I hated the commute. I feel like everybody else who sits in the car for hours. So I have a passion for vintage and I like things that are old or unique. So I came up with this idea that I was going to do a pop-up store. And to do that, I wanted to have something clever. So My Big Finds is actually my children's initials made into a name. And so the idea of the store wasn't supposed to be forever, though we're at 8.5 years now. And it was supposed to just be for 3 months and be a fun pop-up where people could do holiday shopping. But here we are still. And I think the title is something that will never fade. And so My Big Finds triggers the interest of like searching through the store and finding your big find. And then it's also at my heart because it's named after my kids.
Yeah. What were you doing before you started this business? And what were some of the push and pull factors that brought you to what you're doing today?
Okay, so I am old. I've been in the workforce for probably 30 plus years. I started in the brokerage industry, so I used to help hire financial advisors, people who would deal with stocks and bonds, really important stuff, things that I'm so glad I learned. So that career really took me 26 years. I got all my licenses. I became very versed in investing, college planning, retirement things, and it was very important and I enjoyed it. However, I think I kind of hit a point where it's kind of still true today. Businesses were buying each other out, banks and brokerage firms, and then a lot of businesses aren't still sustainable, so they would consolidate and work together. And so that comes with some trials when you're middle management, and those things get harder to do. And I guess I feel like I learned everything I was going to learn in that field. And I think what I tell the students who work here, because I only hire high school students, is you don't have to know what you want to be when you grow up right away. And it's a shame that when you're 18 years old, you're kind of forced to know what school you have to be in, you have to get into it, and it's just very stressful. And so I think I'm one of those people who kind of naturally went one curve, felt like I learned everything I could, wanted to follow my passion a little bit. And so I think I kind of hated going to work after a while, which was not my personality. I'm much more of a positive person. So I was like, I don't know what I want to do, so let me start this pop-up. And I had no business plan, and I started it. And then here I am, like I said, 8.5 years later, and I still love it. It brings me more joy than anything. I've never worked harder, and I get to wear sweatpants every day.
Yeah,
so there we go.
That's the most important part.
Yes, comfort.
Doing, right?
Yes, love what you're doing.
What kind of logistics and preparation went into, obtaining a physical shop and, starting up the business as a whole?
So I think it's funny. Like I said, I had no business plan, but you need to have certain licenses and you need to know what you're doing, and I did not. And so it's really interesting that there are some people who help you, but there's really no flow chart of like what to do, and you learn kind of backwards, and then you either get penalized because you weren't following the rules, and then you realize, and then they kind of give you support. But you need to have certain licenses, you need to kind of have an idea of budget, you need to have expenses. I think you have to constantly be motivated to think the next big thing, because you're never going to stay in business, at least in retail. Remember, this store is retail, so that's a very hard thing to compete with Amazon and all the online shopping. So logistically, I mean, there's so much that goes into it. I have to make sure I have enough money to pay everybody. I always want to follow my word. I have to have marketing fun events. I need to have things to draw people into the store. So I'm constantly thinking and working, and I don't get weekends like everybody else, unfortunately. So you have to be willing to give that up.
When you started out the business, what were some ways that you acquired and developed an initial customer following base?
Okay, so I own my store here in a community where I've lived for 20 years, and having something that seemed inviting and drew people in, and then what I think I'm good at and the things that I think are important for business owners is to become personal with everybody. So I would strike conversation and start having dialogue, and now the people who come in regularly, I go to their personal parties, they come to mine, I become friends with these people. So for me, it's about making connections And I think what occurred is that I'm naturally an extrovert. So I love talking to people, and I will happily stop what I'm doing and talk to you, even though my to-do list is yay long. But the people interaction to me is the most exciting part of the whole thing. I think if people connect with you, then they want to buy from you. So as much as like that's not my intention originally, but people come back regularly because if they like you as a person, then they want to support you, and it becomes this cycle. And then we do a lot of things in the community for the community. I used to help put on the tree menorah lighting. So I would get my name out there lots of different ways where I was putting up my own money or my own time, and then people notice that. So it becomes this like cognitive wheel of like, people see the effort and then they want to support it. And then if you bring joy, people want to be a part of it. So I think that's kind of how it all came about.
How important would you say the location is to a business, and how has being in a place like Kentlands, helped your overall business performance?
So it's a great question because I have been in not only 1, 2, but 3. This is how you do 3 locations in the Kentlands. So I started as a pop-up, as I might have, people who might know the store know. We were around the corner about 700 feet. We were on a one-way street opposite the movie theater, had parking right in front. But our business then had to move based on the fact that we were a pop-up and we didn't pay rent regularly to the landlord. Now we've moved in our final location and we do pay the rent to the landlord. And interestingly, if you were to show people where we're located, we're in the center of this cute little walkway, but there's no parking nearby. You can't see my store from one direction, but you can the other. I have doubled my business here than I have over there because this location is like a hot spot. It has restaurants. It's kind of where people walk through. So even within the same community, I can tell you location is key. Like you can't, unless you're a true destination. I find that we get so many new people all the time because I'm always asking them. And I think it's just drawn because our community is a very great walking community. And even just being here versus around the corner has made a world of difference. I've talked to other business owners who are on different streets. They don't get as much business either. So I don't know if the gods have like a plan and how you can figure it out, but like if you can literally pay more for the location, it does make a difference.
Yeah. So do you believe My Big Finds would do better or worse if it sold all of its products
only
online?
one way?
Only online.
I definitely think we're an experience store. So when you have retail, Amazon and all those places, like usually if you know your product and you know what you need, you order it and you get it delivered. You could do that in your pajamas or anything, but my store is an experience. We sell everything in the store.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that you get lost in it. People have so much stress in their life. You don't know if they just took their last cancer treatment. You don't know if they're all of a sudden somebody passed away. You don't know if they're having issues with their children or if they're a child and they feel like they're always treated as a child, but when they come in here, we treat them like they're an adult when they walk around. So I always keep in mind that everybody has this whole like closet full of the way they feel when they walk in. And so our desire is to get all that out of their mind. And when they walk in the store and they walk around, that they escape their reality for just a bit. And I think to compete with those online stores, you have to have the kind of experience that we provide. And it also has to be like, oh, we only have 6 of those, so you better run in and get it soon, because it's not going to be like we have 25 online to grab.
We've heard about the policy of only hiring high school and college students. So could you talk a little bit about that and, other qualities you like to see in potential employees?
Yeah, that's a great question. I basically worked in, I guess, the hiring of employees in my past world. And so I know how important it is, even for adults, if they're not happy in their job, how it affects you. So for me, I want to, and I've had 2 grown kids, hence the name of My Big Finds. You don't always know what you want to be when you grow up. So I always think like give people the experience where they can learn things that they either really like or don't like. And then you can start chipping away at those things of knowing like, oh, that goes in the category of I don't want to do that when I grow up. Or, oh, I really enjoyed this, what I did, and I'd like to do that again. And so for my experience, I really was determined what I get out of the store. Not only I get to talk to customers, but I'm like hopefully bettering or empowering young people to have confidence, because my gosh, there is a lot of poor confidence in young people today. And I think that it's just a matter of like learning to do things. And I'm a parent where we've always protected our kids and that's what we think we're doing well. But I think when you have a job and you're in the real life and you have to do executive functioning skills, you have to problem solve, you have to deal with others. It's just lessons that go so far. And so many of the students who have worked with me I still keep in touch with. Some of them are married by now. It's really neat to see how their futures have expanded.
What's your strategy to market your store and attract new customers to My Big Finds?
Well, we have been trying, anytime somebody has like a silent auction, I try to participate so that maybe it'll spread out to different members that don't know the store. We will do, Moco Show is like always the hot spot, so I'll run an ad there every now and again. We do post every day. I do find that I was starting to say that the young students are doing a lot of the Instagram posts, so we market either like our top 5, we'll have contests, we'll show some of the product in the store. We're getting ready for the Olympics. We want to make sure everybody's got their gear. So we really try to stay current with things and also make sure that we're hitting all different customer base. So the post will make sure that we hit that. I do email still because I have customers that only do email. We will also, we're going to try to start a TikTok, as I was saying, and then we will do a loyalty program for customers as well, and so they get to come in and get certain discounts that not everybody gets. And so we're always marketing constantly through all the different avenues that we can. And then, like I said, I'll try to do a lot of things for free, like volunteer work and stuff, just so that the more my name gets out there too, people haven't heard of the store, they might hear it.
What does this store do to stand out from other competitive gift shops, and what makes customers come back to the store every day?
I mean, I feel like hopefully the more I've been answering your questions that people can see that it's very sincere. I am here almost all the time. I am doing lots of factors that kind of build on top of each other so that we will always make sure that we greet you. We will always make sure we say goodbye. I think, again, building those relationships with people and then having really fun, unique things. Every day I get told, like, this is my happy place, or I love adding you to my list of places to go. And then many people are procrastinating, so they'll come in and be like, I'm supposed to be doing this, but I thought I'd come here instead, and I don't mind being that spot. So it's kind of been fun to see what people say, and we try to feed off what they tell us so that we're always evolving to kind of match that vibe.
So what's one thing that you wish you knew before you started your store and started this business?
Probably how much money it would take, how much time and energy away from my family, how I have to rely on other people to like do my business, and that even when I'm not here and they have to represent me, I can't be here to watch them do that. And so I worry that my presentation of like what I want isn't always followed when I'm not here. That you don't get weekends, that there's so much time and energy spent and it's your own. I don't get to go on vacation. This is my second home rather than everybody who has a house on the beach. This will be mine forever until I choose not to. So there's lots of sacrifices I think a lot of people don't realize. And then a lot of times they want you to do new things, but they don't realize like that means I have to spend $5,000 to get that one item for you or whatever it is. So I try my hardest to make it all play and work. But I can't always see the benefit in it, so it's definitely, that's the hardest part. But if the money I made and the amount of time I had to spend equaled the passion and like love for this, it would be great. But I would say if you talk to a lot of small business owners, like we work harder than anybody and there's not as much benefit for it, but we try our best and hope that we can take the positive out of it.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who is unsatisfied with their current occupation and wants to take that leap of faith to create their own small business just as you have?
Maybe take a business plan, take a class, talk to somebody, maybe 5 to 10 businesses who do something similar that you do so that you could really understand it before you kind of leave your security. But sometimes it's a matter of just going for it also. So like I can see both sides of it, but I do like to prepare, but maybe not be an over preparer. So you kind of want to do a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much. You gave really great information to our viewers. Yeah, thank you.